Hey fans, viewers, and listeners, welcome to another exciting episode of Fight Inside Podcast. I'm your co-host for today, Rain Cruz, also known as Ringside Rain, ring announcer for Up Next Fighting. And with me as always is Timmy B. Before we get things started, please take a moment to follow and subscribe to Fight Inside Podcast. Today, we will have two great guests. The first one is a UFC flyweight set to put the division on notice with his flashy style both in and out of the cage. And our second guest is a young female amateur fighter out of Toronto, Canada, who is looking to make a name for herself and make it to the big leagues. We will also talk about FLA 12 coming up this weekend in New Brunswick, Canada, and a whole lot more. So what are we waiting for? Tim, hit it! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Inside Podcast.
First guest today is a UFC flyweight and the pride of St. Louis, Missouri. He's a three-time LFA champion, three-time champion. He's a Tiger Muay Thai trained fighter and Dust Commander Dale trained fighter. That's what's most important to me. He makes his much anticipated return to the cage this weekend in the Apex at UFC Allen versus Craig on November 18th. We're going to get this podcast started because the people need what the people need. Rain.
Please welcome Charles INNERG Johnson.
Hey, what's up? What's up, baby? How y'all doing?
How's it going? I stole your line there, Charles.
Hey, I appreciate the DVD man reference. I appreciate it.
For those that don't know, Charles, your Instagram and your YouTube is very entertaining. Tell people where they got to go.
Yeah, man. IG, INNERG MMA, and INNERG TV, and YouTube, and TikTok, and I believe also it's X now, but INNERG _TV to all of those. Thank you.
Yeah. And for the not cool people, that's Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong? Charles, man, your stuff is excellent, my friend. When I was going around looking you up and trying to prep a little bit for this interview, I didn't realize you were such a big entity on YouTube and that you had all that stuff. I did want to shout out. You had a what was it, like a film that you made? It was called Out the Mud, which was a docu-film that you did on YouTube. Very, very good, like high quality. It really takes you behind the scenes in your training and up into the fight. It was excellent. Very good.
Yeah, thank you. I teamed up with my guy Levy Ventura. He did the photography for the Terrence Crawford fight. He was in Terrence Crawford's camp as well, and I met him through my brother Jordan Burroughs. So he's his full-time photographer. So he's just a good dude through and through. He came out to Michigan where I train at Murcielago, and put some nice things together for that camp. And most recently, I've been working with, for the last 2 years, 3 Comma Creative, and it's just the social media. They help me out with my branding and just mentoring. So I've been able to really grow a lot with them. And we started working on this series that I'm going to be putting out on YouTube, a parody skit series. So just trying to have fun, remain an entertainer, something I love doing. I've always loved comedy and kung fu and martial arts. So, growing up. So now I'm just like falling in line with everything I love anyway.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Rain, this guy looks like a total badass. Like if you walked into him in the street, you would walk the other way. Like, dude's a scary dude. But then when you see him and you see his YouTube stuff and everything like that, he's such a cool, like personable guy, family man, like he seems like a really good dude. So Charles, I'm glad to have you. We're going to start with a little bit of a game. It's just 2 questions today. Both, I feel you should get the answers. But Rain, take it away.
All right. Question number 1. Urban Dictionary defines this as the permanent state of mind where nothing is impossible. To achieve it, one must remove all doubt, all fear, all worries from the mind and push beyond your limits to achieve anything you desire.
Is that
Are you looking for a hint, my friend?
Are you waiting on me? Is it like a multiple choice?
No, you gotta know this. You gotta know it.
It's like what? Greatness, ambition,
I mean, all right.
power
Well, see,
beyond
now,
all means. If I was Spider-Man, what is it?
now I don't know what it is, but I looked it up. I thought that's what INNERG means.
Energy. Let's go. Let's go.
Because okay,
Yes.
tell us, what is your understanding of your nickname? Like, what is INNERG to you?
It's just honestly, man, I'm into symbolism. I'm into things that mean more than what the eye beholds, because that's everybody you meet. You know, you never know what people's going through. You know what lives people live, and it's a lot of great people in the world. But it's just something that when I was fighting, you know, you always got to be yourself. And, you know, whatever comes out in the cage, it really reflects who you are as an individual, I really believe. So for me, energy is everything that encompasses me. And I have a really good monologue coming out for this fight. That's my inner dialogue with myself going on for this fight, and what I was thinking and just where I'm at for this camp. And that video will be coming out this week sometime on my YouTube channel as well. So the energy, it's just everybody got it inside of them. You just got to pull out who you are, and it might be multiple versions.
Nice, man. No, I like it. And I will leave, for those that are only listening on audio to this podcast, I'll leave the link to your YouTube in the show notes as well as on YouTube and Spotify as well, so that people can find it easily. But I mean, you should all be following Charles Johnson anyways. Like, what's wrong with you if not? Rain, question number 2.
All right, number 2. This man is a flyweight on a mission who is set to blow the roof off the Apex on November 18th with a killer performance, killer hairstyle, and killer beard.
Pretty Ricky, what they call him, Mr. Energy in the flesh. Mr. You can't hit, but you can't catch. Charles Energy Johnson right there.
That's
Shout
the man.
out to
That's
my
the
guy.
man.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I do want to say you got all the cool style. I want to hit right away on something that he just said, Rain, but you talked about like the symbolism and stuff. I had a guest on the podcast long ago. She was on The Ultimate Fighter, Laura Gallardo. And she did a lot with this. And I got a deck after I spoke with her, and I saw you did it too, but it's the tarot cards.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you into that stuff?
No, I am, but I'm not. Like, I don't do it myself. But I'm into everything, you know, like I believe in God first. I believe in religion. I believe in faith. And I believe, you know, you get shown things at the right time. And I'm here for all of it, right? And as long as you're being a positive and an influential person in the world, I think that you move in the right direction. So when it comes to tarot cards, my lady's mom, she kind of dabbles in it, and we were at the house and she had them out and she was just reading to her husband. And I was like, I asked her if she could do something for me, read me, you know, and she was like, well, ask me a specific question. First, she was nervous about doing it. She was like, are you sure? You know, and I was like, yeah, sure. You know, and I was like, she's like, don't put too much into it. I was like, I do, but it's okay. I do. I believe all these things have symbols, and the cards that she pulled, yeah, they were like spot on with where my head was at, where my heart was at, and what's going on in my life and where I'm headed, you know, I believe. So it was a really cool experience. That was unexpected.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Yeah. No, and it definitely doesn't have to like replace. It doesn't have to like replace your religion or spiritual belief or anything like that. It's just something else, right? But it is interesting. Yeah. So shout out to Laura Gallardo, who's a fighter, because she turned me on to it, and then I was looking at it. I got a book and all that. It's pretty interesting. The first time that I did it, Charles, I haven't even really done it yet, but I was like messing around with the cards, and I had my wife. I go, okay, just pull a card. Let's see what you get, and then we'll like read up what it means. And she pulls like whatever card it was, 10 of swords or something like that.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Like, and then we read it and whatever, and then shuffle the cards up. You know, there's like a lot of cards, right? I don't know how many cards is in the deck. And then we shuffle it all up, and like, okay, draw another card and we'll see. Pull the same card.
The same card? Wow.
It's almost impossible that would happen. Yeah. Like, it was crazy. So yeah, I don't know what that meant, but all right, man. And then another thing I want to talk to you about for sure is this guy. I think you saw him last week, and he's a friend of the podcast, been on here twice.
My guy. The commander.
Commander Dale Brown, he's one of the best dudes around, man. I really appreciate this guy. You've trained with him. I've seen it before on your Instagram. I saw in the video, actually in that video you're talking about, you're wearing the dust hoodie, right? What's your relationship with Commander Dale, and when will he be walking you to the cage?
He won't be walking me to the cage, but we're good friends. We're actually texting before I got on the show. He's a good guy, family man, just like myself. Just people oriented, and he does a lot of great things for Detroit community that people wouldn't even know. They just see the social media, and that's how he blew up. But he's been helping people out for years, probably before I was born, in his programs. And so just a great guy who understands how to leverage his influence right now to actually help people. And that's what he's doing constantly every day. He has a hotline for people to call if they're in trouble or if they need help, or even just women or mothers or people who are in tough situations. And he does private security, and he's just an overall good dude. And then he makes time to do social media posts with me. Right. So he's just a good man, him and his wife, and they have a daughter who's headed up too, so but yeah, man, Commander, he's the man. He knows, he got a lot of knowledge in that brain, right? He knows a lot about, he reads a lot, and so he always hits me with some type of something that I remember.
Yeah. No, I love that guy, man. So we met him on the podcast a couple of times. Rain, you haven't met him yet, but like I'm going to bring him back on for sure soon. I'm reading his book right now that talks, like, it kind of documents his life. It's an amazing book if you haven't got that book yet. And he's a good dude, but in the future, you got to get him to walk with you to the cage, because he's 1-0 as a manager. He walked Joaquin Buckley out, and they won that fight. So
yeah, factually,
dude, it's good luck. I don't know. He's a good man. You're in. Where are you stationed out of now? Where are you living?
I live and train in Lansing, Michigan, and so I've been living here. Yeah, I've been living here since the start of 2021, and so it'll be going on almost 3 years now. Nice. And I train out of Murcielago MMA. In the wintertime, I try to make a trip out to Tiger Muay Thai, and train there. I still got a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of infrastructure there, so St. Louis is home. And when I get time, I go there and train out of St. Charles MMA back home, jiu-jitsu base school. So, I'm predominantly in Lansing, Michigan now. So Detroit and Lansing is where I'm at.
Nice, man. Yeah, I saw that you're training at Tiger Muay Thai, which is amazing. That's like one of the best gyms in Thailand for sure. And when I posted about you coming on, they messaged me and said, "Hey, that's our guy. He's great. He's awesome." So yeah, I know that they're always watching out for you. And I saw on your social media that you were training at I apologize what gym it was, but with Gray Maynard, and he's got a gym now in Michigan as well.
Yeah, he's in Lansing here as well. He moved from, I think he was in Vegas or Cali, and he moved here. I think it's been about a year almost. Him and his wife. She runs Blend Lansing, which is they sponsor me, and she does. So she was his nutritionist when he was fighting. She's very knowledgeable. She understands the body and she understands the sport. And so I go there on Saturdays, and I usually do a really hard burnout workout session, and then she'll have some either whether it's a smoothie, a acai bowl, or coconut bowl, or some type of, and a juice with all the right things in it that I need to feel good and just get me refreshed for the day and get me to be able to recover for the weekend and feel good for Monday. So shout out to Blend Lansing and Prime Combat for just allowing me a place to work and being good people.
No, that's amazing, man. That's good for you. Anything, Rain, that you wanted to ask Mr. Charles Energy Johnson?
I noticed your hat says YOLO.
Yeah.
You only live once. Yeah. Can you give me a situation wherein you felt a little scared, not sure about the situation, a little nervous, and you had to tell yourself, you know what? YOLO. You only live once. You got to do this.
Hey, well, when I had to go to Thailand, I didn't have to. It was a choice. but I didn't have a passport. I didn't have anything. I didn't have anybody show me how to do it. I figured it out, went online, did the filing, and they messaged me back unbelievably. And I was like, man, I got to do this. And so just creating the right situation for myself to get out there. And then once I got out there, it was one thing to get there, and it was one thing to live once you were there, because I didn't have much money. And so they supplied me with a meal prep and a place to stay and full training for a year. But then the pandemic hit, and it was a really tough time for me. And everybody's telling me I should write a book, because Thailand was a very different place than the rest of the world. And it was just, things were very different than what was going on in the world. But when everything started to close down, it was no way to make money. It was tough. And I had to do a visa trip. So I was in, I forgot where I went to, somewhere on the border, so I could do a visa trip, so I can renew my visa to stay in the country. And in between the posts, I get there, nobody speaks English. They're speaking, whether it's Cambodian or Malaysian, or I forget where I was at. And yeah, bro, I got off the bus and I didn't know where to go. And I started trying to ask people, and nobody spoke English or understood what I was saying. And I had my stuff with me, and I had my papers, and I'm like, I have to do this because I have to be able to get back into Thailand, because this is where I'm at right now. But I don't know where I should fucking go right now. And it was a moment where I freaked out kind of within myself. I kind of like started crying because I couldn't call anybody. I didn't know what to do. So then I had to sit within myself for it was like a 5-minute thing. I was like, all right. And then I just started walking, and then eventually I figured out, I start following and look around. Then I got somewhere, and then I was like, I'm just going to see if this is where I should go. Right. So 5-7 minutes down the road somewhere, and I'll end up in the right place. And fortunately, I end up getting to the right place I need to get my things taken care of. But that moment was a big YOLO moment where it's life hits you fast. And that was the first time I realized that I was out of the country. I didn't know how to speak the language. And that was the first time, because in Thailand, everyone speaks English. It's very touristy. But that was the very first time I was just I got overwhelmed in a very long time, and it was a tough moment, but I handled it. And I still think about that moment. You went through some shit during COVID, it may seem small, but it was it was small and minute and compared to a lot of other things I had to deal with. But for me, that was a big moment, because that was the first time I felt the weight of being alone by myself and doing all the things I was doing at the time.
Oh, wow. You made it through.
Yeah. I mean, how crazy is that, Rain? This is a guy who
shout out to YOLO Rum, my sponsors for St. Louis. They take care of me. So yeah.
Nice.
I like the YOLO, so it is what it is.
Rain, this is a guy that locks himself in a cage to fight a man to the death, but he feels most alone at an airport where he didn't know.
I went at an airport. It was in between a bus and what's it called when you in between countries?
Like a border?
Like a border type situation. Okay. I didn't know where to go. It wasn't an airport, and nobody spoke English. Okay. So I was really fucking freaked out. I didn't know what to do for a few minutes. I just had to get my shit together and start moving, And I always say moving is healing. So I was I healed that situation. Thankfully.
And you live to tell the story.
Yeah.
Thank
very minute, but it's a very minute. I faced much tougher situations, but that was the first time I was overwhelmed in a while.
Yeah. No, it's good. Charles, I don't want to take up too much of your time. This is fight week for you. When do you fly out to Vegas?
Tomorrow a.m. I'll be headed to the airport around 5:45 a.m. and I'll be in Vegas by 10:30 a.m. So it's fight week. We get there Tuesday. We lock in and we go to the trainers, make sure we feel good. Wednesday, we do our media obligations. Thursday is weight cut. Friday is weigh in. Saturday is the fight. So the week is very detailed, ready to go, and just excited to perform, man.
Yeah, man. And even more so, I appreciate your time so much, Charles, because to come on the podcast during your fight week too, we normally don't get a lot of fighters on fight week because we don't like to, stress anything out or anything. But thank you so much for coming on. This week, obviously, everybody tune in to the UFC to watch your man Charles Energy Johnson kick some ass. What can we expect? Charles, you're feeling good. What's your prediction for the fight?
I mean, I'm fighting a very scrappy guy and a guy that's going to bring the fight. So it's going to be action-packed fight. It's flyweight. The division is very, very good right now. A lot of great fights. Every fight is entertaining. So, it's a Charles Energy Johnson fight, right? It's going to be exciting regardless of what happens. So just tune in and be ready for some action. I'm very, very, very focused and excited to perform for you all.
Dude, you're going to kill it, man. I'm so excited to see you back there. Now, I do have a question that I want to ask you before we let you go. But before I ask that question, is there anything that you wanted to say to the fans, viewers, and listeners of the podcast?
No, man, I just appreciate the support. Thank you all for having me on. If you get a chance, make sure to tune in to Energy_TV. And I have a sponsor, Phone Locker, and it's my high school wrestling coach, but he created a system of where you've seen it at comedy shows where they put the phones in the magnetic bags to make sure that nobody's doing social media or something like that. Well, he created a system for high school classrooms and things like that where the kids can put their phones in an electronic box that's operated by a box at the front of the room by the teachers. They can press a button and it unlocks all the boxes in the classroom. So when the kids come in, they just put their phones in the locker so they can focus on what needs to happen in the classroom. They can focus on, being tuned into what needs to happen. And so shout out to Phone Locker and just creating great things for kids and growing.
That's awesome, man.
That's a great idea.
If we pay him, can you force it so that everyone automatically follows Fight Insight podcast when they do it? That's what we get on. You know what I mean?
Hey,
you know what I mean? I'm willing to invest in that.
Maybe. You might figure it out.
Charles, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one last question. It's a question that my mom used to ask me every day growing up as a child. And I'm going to ask it to you, my friend. So Charles Energy Johnson, UFC flyweight, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
I am ecstatic, man. I have everything I ever wanted in life and nothing but greatness ahead of me. And I just got to stay focused and positive and believe in what I'm doing. So I appreciate y'all.
Dude, you're the best. I want to have you back on the podcast when we can celebrate your victory here and we can get into it. I saw you had a green Power Ranger helmet behind you.
Shout out to the GOAT. Shout out to the GOAT.
Dude, look at this, dude. Of all the ones I got, there you go, baby.
Yes,
green
sir. Shout out to the GOAT.
So we'll have you back on. We'll chat. We'll talk more. But all the best to you this week. Have safe flight. Get out there, kick some ass, and then we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care, man. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That is Mr. Charles Energy Johnson. And Rain, we've got our next guest already lined up. I can see her down there in the lobby. So before we get to that, I'm just going to give a quick shout out. Willow, give us 2 seconds. I'm going to give a shout out. Friends of the podcast update. Fight Insight alumni went 3 for 3 on the weekend, baby.
Woo!
Lupi Godinez gets her unanimous decision win. Huge win at UFC. We had our man, Jared Gordon, with the first round knockout. Friggin' shocked the world with that one, baby. I didn't think he would get it done that quick and that brutal. Gets the win. And then next week's guest fought this weekend as well. She's been on the podcast before. She fought at Cage Warriors. That's Kate Batchick. She fought at Cage Warriors on 2 days' notice, Rain. 2 days' notice, and gets a big win in the bantamweight division at Cage Warriors. So congratulations to Kate Batchick. Of course, I want to say thank you to Rageworks Podcast Network for having us on their network, rageworksnetwork.com. Go check them out. And this week, aside from the man you just saw, Charles Johnson, fighting at UFC, we also have former guest of the podcast, Jake Matthews. He's fighting on the card as well. So go and support both those men for sure. Tell them Fight Insight sent you. Rain, let's get to our next guest, if that's okay. We're going to go quickly here. This is our second week in a row with 2 guests, Rain.
I know. I love it.
All right. Here we go. Our second guest. She also is a flyweight, but she's a female MMA athlete with her sights set on stardom. She was set to fight at Fight League Atlantic 12. That's why we're having her on this week. It was going to be her 8th amateur bout where I was going to be able to meet her in person Rain, because I will be there. We'll talk about that later. It's in Moncton, New Brunswick. Her fight was recently called off due to her opponent having to withdraw, but we still wanted to meet her. We want to talk about how all that emotion stuff goes. She's a female fighter, amateur fighter. How is that? Most importantly, she's a fellow Torontonian, as I am, Rain, and a fellow York University graduate. So we're twinsies, Rain. Bring her in, Rain.
Please welcome Willow Morton.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Willow, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you so much for coming. And sorry for the slight delay there in getting the man Charles and allowing us to say goodbye to him.
No worries. No worries.
How are you, and where are you at right now?
I'm good. I'm at Hitters Fight Club, one of the gyms that I train at here in Toronto. Nice. Downtown on Dundas Street West.
Nice. Well, we're like, Rain, I could throw a rock and hit Willow. That's almost how close we are. Willow, I did want to say I'm so sorry that your fight is called off. We should have been flying to New Brunswick like in a few days. Yeah. We'll get to that, but before we do, Rain, we're going to play a little bit of a game with Willow. We've got some questions to ask, loosen her up, see what's going on. So, Rain, take it away.
All right, question number 1. Willow was a sidekick turned witch on this TV show who helped her blonde bestie fight and sometimes fall in love with vampires.
Was it Vampire Diaries or Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Boom! I'm going to give you the point. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
The best friend was named Willow. So there you go. All right. Rain, next one.
All right, number 2. True or false? When Timmy B went to York University, he learned Filipino martial arts upstairs in the tight Mackenzie building from a man that looked exactly like the bad guy from Karate Kid.
Okay, I'm going to say true because I feel like there was a martial arts club at York University. I was never a part of it, but I heard of it. And there's like a Facebook group and like people have messaged me like from it, but I've never ever met anyone who like went to it. So I'm going to say true.
Boom, it is true. And the coach looked just like this guy. Okay. Do you know John Kreese from the Karate Kid? Do you guys watch that show at all? Or Cobra Kai?
Honestly, I haven't watched that many TV shows and movies, to be honest, but I'll check it out now.
Okay. that guy's like the main bad guy. And when I was at York University, they ran this it was Jeet Kune Do, but they also taught knife fighting and eskrima. Okay. And it was like in the evenings and whatever. And I kind of saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I've never done martial arts before. So I joined up, and that's what set me on my path of martial arts. But the guy, I swear to God, I thought it was that guy. And he was so mean, Willow. Like if you messed up a combo or anything, he would come over and he'd like nerve pinch you and you'd be on the ground begging for mercy. Like he was like so hardcore, but he was amazing and a good guy. Dale Johns, and it was what was the club called? Ultimate Martial Art. I forget what it was called, but he was a good dude, man. All right, Rain, question number 3.
Okay, number 3. This amateur flyweight female MMA fighter is one of the hottest young prospects coming out of Canada and is sure to put on one hell of a show the minute she gets the call.
I'm going to say me.
Of course it is. Of course, it can only be you, Willow.
It can only be me, really. Like, who else is there, you know?
Who else, Willow? Now, do you see the photo I chose of you there? It was a very martial arts looking photo. And again, if you're not watching the podcast on video, come check out the YouTube or Spotify. But there's this picture of Willow, right, Rain? Yeah. Badass, right? Looking dangerous. Yeah, looking dangerous. But as I'm researching Willow, I come across these photos and I'm like, wait, is this the fighter Willow that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She is a pageant model. Willow, 2 sides of Willow Morton here.
2 sides, for sure.
What's going on with the pageants?
So a lot of years ago now, I guess, when I was younger, people always used to say like I should model or do pageants or something because I was just like pretty skinny, kind of tall. So a lot of people said that. So I actually entered a pageant and I won second, I think. So they sent me internationally to El Salvador and I competed. I represented Canada and I won Miss Teen Americas. So that was definitely a really fun experience. But I feel like after doing pageants, I was like, okay, I think that fighting is more for me. But the pageants were definitely very, very cool.
That's awesome. That's so crazy. Now, Willow, how come you have no nickname? Because I feel like obviously you should be called like Willow, the beauty queen.
Beauty queen.
Right? Or the queen, you know, something, but like play homage to your pageant background.
Yeah, I feel like, so actually I do have a nickname. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the podcast. Are you guys allowed to swear? I don't know.
Oh yeah, we encourage it.
Okay. So my nickname that they actually announced at multiple fights is Big Dick Willow.
Jesus.
So I've actually sold hundreds of shirts that say Big Dick Willow on them. So if you ever see someone walking around with a big dick shirt, could be mine. But yeah, I acquired this nickname before my first MMA fight, and then ever since then, there's been a huge demand for more big dick merchandise. So I give this what they want, you know?
Yeah. Willow, sign me up for the next shirt that you do.
I will.
100%. Why is this not, you know?
Yeah.
Can we, I mean, I'm scared to ask, but what's the origin story?
So actually, I was training in near Pittsburgh, and my one head coach, Evan, he used to always be like, yeah, that's Big Dick Willow. Whenever I do something really good or like really violent, he'd be like, that's Big Dick Willow. So it just kind of caught on, and my other coaches started to be like, yeah, Big Dick Willow. And then I was like, all right, let me just put it on a shirt. Like, we might as well do something with this, because they were asking me for my first MMA fight, like, oh, what's your ring name? And I was like, well, I'll put this and see what they say. And they announced it, and everybody loved it. So I've been going with it ever since.
Now, Willow, Rain is a ring announcer for Up Next Fighting in California.
Nice.
Rain, if someone says that that's their nickname, are you screaming that out?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dang it. Willow, if you were the first guest on the podcast, like we normally don't have two guests, but we're very lucky to have you and Charles this week. But normally Rain like confirms, like, what's the nickname? How do you say it? And then so before this podcast started, before you were there, we're like, okay, Willow, no nickname, right? Yeah, we don't see nickname, but damn it. All right. Well, Willow, you have to come back for sure for your next fight, because I want to hear Rain scream that out. And
obviously, yeah, we have to get that going.
Now, here's the thing, Willow. Obviously, you know, and I barely talked about on this podcast, but I will be at Fight League Atlantic 12 this weekend. So guys, go check out fightleagueatlantic.com. Go get your tickets there. If you're in the Atlantic area of Canada, just go to New Brunswick and I'll see you there. But if not, and you're anywhere else in the world, you can go to fightleagueatlantic.com and buy the pay-per-view, definitely, because the show is amazing. Willow, I've met up with Fight League Atlantic. I was there at their last event for Kumite 5 and for Fight League Atlantic 11. It's a fantastic show. You were going to make your debut there. Unfortunately, your opponent falls out a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just actually about a week ago, I think. Yeah.
And so it sucks, obviously, right? Because all the time and effort you put in, they weren't able to find a replacement for you. I'm assuming, because you're not there now. How are you feeling with that? Like, what's the emotions that goes through? Because you were right there, like right on the precipice of the fight.
Yeah. So I feel like definitely, I was extremely disappointed. I have to say, like, I've put in a lot of work, for what I do, a lot of money, work, time, sacrifices. So kind of for it to get put to an end like a week before you're going to fly out, it really sucks. I train all year, so I'm not like a person who just trains coming into camps, but obviously the intensity gets higher and then my nutrition gets lower. So things are rough, and you're really just looking forward to the moment to show everybody what you've been working on. So it definitely is disappointing to not get that moment, but obviously I wish my opponent a quick recovery, but definitely not how I planned this week to play out. So
Yeah. And, but, you know, like I said, the Fight League Atlantic organization is a fantastic organization. So hopefully they do get you back in the future as well, like on one of their future cards. Until that time, like, what's the plan for you? You just keep training, keep kicking ass in the gym, and then just wait for the next fight to line up?
Yeah, so we looked at possibly when I want to fight next. We're thinking maybe the new year. I was looking at something even December, but the thing is, like, I've been in camp for a long time. I fought 3 times this year, so I've been in a calorie deficit for a decent amount of that time. So, you know, it's just time to maybe give my body a little bit of rest, work on my skills, strength and conditioning, and I'm going to be doing a bit of travel out of town to train with some bigger teams across the states. So this week I'm actually going to California. So
wow.
Yeah.
And where will you be training in California?
I'm training at Team Alpha Male in Sacramento.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That's crazy, Willow. That's Rain, one of the biggest gyms, right? Uriah Faber's gym, which is like he's the man. So Willow, how does that get set up that you get to go to like such a prestigious gym?
So I'm just really lucky. Some people I know have some connections, so I was able to get some phone calls going. We were just trying to figure out where we were going to go this week, because one of my goals right now is to get more training in with some high-level female partners. Because I don't know if you know, but in Canada, especially Toronto, there's not very many training partners. So I really want to utilize the time off I have now to go out and try my skills and keep learning and keep getting better, because, you know, that's what I do.
That's awesome though. But that's really cool. Rain, is so funny. It's like her impression of what time off is to go and train with even bigger killers than she already is now. You know what I mean? It's like time off to me means a totally different thing, Willow. So yeah. But that's the life of an amateur. Now, when is it that you hope to turn professional, or what will, like, what predicates that? Like, how does that happen?
So I'm looking at probably at some point next year. There's a couple more things that I want to, I guess, just feel as an amateur. Like feelings in the fight, like being comfortable in there. You know, I just want to get the experience, because I am still 22, so I have a little bit of time. And I just want to make sure that, like, we're making the right decision for me when I go pro, but I'm looking forward to it, and it should be coming up soon. Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. So is it hard, like, will it be harder to find fights as an amateur than it is a pro, or is it vice versa? Like, which?
I think it's harder to find. I think it's hard to find fights as a female in the whole sport. You know, there's not very many women competing. And even though the sport has grown, there's still not as many women as there are men competing. I feel like if you're a guy around 125 to 155, you can find a fight like every second weekend. But for girls, it's definitely a lot more difficult, especially finding quality opponents and people who are serious, and like obviously trying to find people who aren't going to pull out last minute. But there's just like a lot of girls who aren't really trying to go the same place as me, and I'm really trying to fight the best amateurs I can to get that experience, because there's no point in fighting people who are like cans, you know.
Yeah. Rain always just wants to fight cans, though. She only wants people that have never trained. Like, if you're sick, she'll take them on, no problem, right?
I'm sure you could find some like backyard gyms. They might find someone for you.
Yeah. Willow, but then again, that's why it was so nice to see that Fight League Atlantic was having you out, right? Because like, if they're able to find people and able to get those fights set up for people, like, it gives such an opportunity. There's not that many promotions that are putting up probably the caliber of fight or the caliber of event that you want to be at, right? If you're looking to turn pro, you want stuff that's really serious, right?
For sure, yeah. Fight League Atlantic, you know, they're really professional, great to work with, especially on like the last little bit when we were getting in contact with them about everything. We actually tried to set up this fight earlier in the year, but the opponent said no. So unfortunately we couldn't set that up. But regardless, they've been professional this whole time, and that's been really nice to work with a good organization.
Yeah. Slight segue. I'm just going to say the weigh-in show that's going to occur this Friday, November 17th, is going to be incredible because this guy's hosting it, baby. I'm hosting the weigh-in show, so it's going to be amazing. Tune into it on YouTube, on the Fight League Atlantic Instagram page. Do check that out because I'm going to be hosting it. So I'm very excited to do that. I love that organization. I hope that you're back out there in the future as well, whether it's as an amateur or as a pro. I want to see you out there.
For sure.
Willow, what is something that people don't know about you aside from that you're big dick, aside that you are a beauty queen? Like, I mean, what else is there to know about you?
I guess so. For me, I actually graduated from York with a criminology degree this past year.
Wow.
So kind of throughout my whole fight career, I've had a lot going on. Like, I worked multiple jobs as a server at different restaurants while I was training. And then also obviously put in a lot of work at school. So I feel like, people just see the outside of fighting, like they just see your accomplishments and like when you win a fight, but they don't really see all of the things that I've put into this. It's not just, I just show up to box fit every day. Like I train multiple times a day, then go to work and have school. Like I had to write 56 pages of essays before my fight in April. So it's like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So it's always going towards putting on my best performance possible. But I hope that people understand that it is a lot of work.
Yeah, that's crazy. Rain, do you have anything that you want to ask Willow?
Yeah, I have two questions for you. Now that you mentioned that you graduated with your criminology degree, do you have any favorite crime shows?
I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and what's the other? It's like NYPD or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And my other question for you is, since you've competed as a beauty queen, right? You've competed in beauty pageants and inside the cage, two different things, two different, basically like opposite, right? Type of environment. What are the similarities of competing as a beauty queen and competing as a fighter?
I'd say, so obviously the competitiveness, beauty pageants are very competitive and like, they're very cutthroat, to be honest. Like people are cutting up other people's dresses like before the competition. Like it's like do that in the movies, but like it's actually pretty crazy. Like I was in El Salvador and someone locked me in a hotel room. Like we had, I don't know how to explain it. Like we're almost staying at kind of like these cabins and I got locked in from the outside. So I couldn't go to breakfast. And I remember like my pageant director was really mad because she thought, another country locked me in this cabin. So like there's like a lot of drama, but people are generally very competitive and they're putting in a lot of work. Like they're practicing their interviews, they're practicing their walks, they're practicing everything all the time. So I'd say the competitive aspect for sure. And then just being able to be composed on stage and like in the public eye, I guess you do have to put on a little bit of composure, especially when you're going traveling around to fights. You gotta be able to have a little bit of stage presence and be okay in tough situations all the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Willow, I will say you're a very well-spoken individual.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're very smart because of the university criminology and all that, but like the pageantry world probably did give you that like confidence to be able to speak, and like you're a very well-spoken individual. So, and that will only serve you well if you keep going in this mixed martial arts career, right? Because you got to be able to sell yourself.
For sure. Yeah. I'm definitely appreciative for that part. The interview part is great.
Yeah. And I apologize. I realized at the bottom of the screen, the ticker was still showing our last guest, but I've changed it over to you now. Your Instagram is at Willow Morton. Is that where most people should go if they want to follow you and check out your journey? Is Instagram your big place?
Yeah, I'd say check me out on Instagram, or my TikTok is Willow Morton 9. I've been trying to post more videos on there. But yeah, those two for sure.
Is Willow Morton 1 through 8 better than you?
No, I just like the number 9. I feel like so. I think in Chinese culture, the number 9 is actually kind of lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, so I always just put 9 for everything.
Okay. I thought 8 is lucky.
I honestly don't know. Maybe I made that up in my. It could be that I made this up in my head, but placebo effect. I've been telling myself 9 was lucky for the past 22 years of my life. So.
Okay. Well, it's your lucky number. That's all that matters. So Willow Morton 9.
Exactly.
Okay. Willow Morton 1 through 8. Screw those guys.
Yeah, they're kind of irrelevant. Like it's 9 that we need to worry about.
They haven't won one beauty pageant. Any of those combined? None of them. They suck.
No, they haven't won a fight. They haven't won a beauty pageant. Who knows what they're doing with their life? Losers. Willow. Anything that you wanted to say to the fans, viewers, and listeners of the show before we let you go and before we get to our last question? Yeah. I'm super grateful for everyone watching me, supporting me, all my fans and viewers. I'm especially grateful for my sponsors. I have a really awesome group of sponsors in Toronto. So Familia Baldassare is like a pasta company. They make amazing pasta here. So anyone who comes down should check them out. Sugo is another really great restaurant that I love. I was just at
Sugo last week.
No way. So
wait, they sponsor you?
Yeah. So all 3, and then Major League Catering. They have a catering company, and they've been amazing. Every single one of my sponsors helps me out every single fight, and they really make this dream possible because it's definitely an expensive one. So.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, hold on. Slight segue to Sugo, though. That place is the best. Rain,
it's the best.
If you ever come to Toronto, you're going to Sugo. My wife and I are taking you and your husband. You walk away with like pounds of like leftovers. Like the food.
Really?
But I mean, if you like Sugo, okay, so next you have to try Familia Baldassare. I'm wearing this shirt. They make fresh pasta. They're open for lunch Wednesday to Friday from 12 to 2. So it's a very small window of time, but you have to go. You have to get in line, get your pasta. It's so good.
All right. I'm going to do that. The next day off I have, I'm going to go check them out. I'll tell them that Willow Morton sent me.
Next week when you come back from FLA, go.
Yeah, for sure. I will. Did you know that many of the guys at Sugo train? Do you train with any of them by chance?
Yeah, I do.
Wait,
I see them actually all the time. Okay, so Connor, Meatball, I see him like every day. And then a bunch of Nancy, she's one of my really good friends. She actually takes care of my cat whenever I go fight, so I'm super lucky for that. And then the rest of them, they all train at Hitters. So if you ever want to see Sugo, come down.
Wait, so the Graham, does Graham train with you? Graham? And then the guy on Instagram, I forget his name, but he's Souvlaki Poppy on Instagram. Shout out to Souvlaki Poppy. Those guys are the jiu-jitsu guys in boxing.
Jiu-jitsu and boxing, yes. But everybody else who does like boxing or kickboxing trains here.
Okay. All right. Well, see how small this world is, Rain? Like, it's crazy. Willow, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one final question, if you don't mind. I think you heard it. I was asking Charles Johnson the question. It's a question that my mom used to ask me growing up. So Willow Morton, big dick, Willow Morton. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
I'd say I'm a 10. I'm super happy and grateful for all the opportunities that I've been given. I've always thought throughout my whole fight career, I might as well chase my dreams because, at least you're chasing them and doing what you want with your life, because there's nothing more I'd rather be doing than this. So, yeah, I couldn't ask for anything else. I mean, I feel like my skill is more of a 12, because then I'm going to go on and win a couple of fights, and then I'll be a 12. Because, 10 is like the average person's good, but I'm better than average, so I feel like I have to be a 12 to be the best. So.
Damn. There you go. Willow, I honestly, I am a little bit surprised, because I thought, like, in this week where it was supposed to be fight week and whatever, I thought that you would rank yourself a little bit lower and stuff like that, but you just let this stuff slide off you. You're good?
Yeah, like, I mean, I definitely was disappointed about the fight falling through, but I can only really look at what I can control, which is what I'm going to do next and what I'm going to do going forward. So I'm really just taking this time as an opportunity to get better. And, you know, next time I'm going to be even better than last time. So people should be even more scared. You know, you can't really let those things get you too upset, or, you know, you have to see them all as opportunities and how can we move forwards from them.
All right. Well, Rain, that was an amazing time. Willow, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate meeting you and getting to learn about you. Learned a lot about you, too much maybe. But we will have you on the podcast again. We will have you on the podcast again. Next time that you book a fight, please do let me know if I don't catch it, but let me know, because we'd love to have you back on to promote that fight as well. In the meantime, everybody go follow Willow Morton on Instagram and on TikTok.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. It was really nice meeting you both.
All right. Thank you so much, Willow. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Rain, I am so upset that you did not get to announce her properly. I'm so upset. So upset.
I would have loved to say that. Like, she's gonna come back.
Yeah.
You know, for her next fight. There we go. We're gonna bring her back, and then I get to announce, you know, her full name with her nickname.
Yeah, it'll be very good. Rain, so I just wanted to say, you know, like, we're perfectly on time here, so we can still have a quick little chat just to say what's up. But so shout out to Fight League Atlantic. You know, I can't wait to go there. So I will be there this Friday for their weigh-in show. I think it's going to be around 2:00 Eastern. So that's 11:00 Pacific, wherever you are around the world. But around 2:00 Eastern, I think. You can check it out at Fight League Atlantic on their Instagram page. So go check them out there. And then it will probably be live streamed there. It'll also be on their YouTube. Please come over there. Support me. You know, leave some messages. Do something to make it look like, you know, that I'm doing a good job. I would appreciate it. And the whole event, you know, I've talked about the last one that they had was so amazing. This one's going to, I no doubt is going to be incredible. So it should be a great time. I'm very excited to travel out to New Brunswick for the first time in my life, Rain. I will say, as a kid, I always used to hear about the Moncton Coliseum, because that's where WWE would always have their shows in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So as a kid, I grew up always hearing Moncton Coliseum, knowing that that's where they have their WWE shows. And then now I'm actually going to be there. So crazy world. Yeah, pretty crazy. The fights were crazy this weekend. Rain, Jared Gordon. I know we said it already, but what did you think about when you saw that happen?
Oh my God. I was so happy for him. You know, that round 1 TKO, I was like, oh my God. You know, I couldn't believe it. And I love his post-fight interview. Yeah. I really, really love it. It's very inspirational. I love that he thanked his wife, and I love how he shared. What I love about Jared's story is that he's not ashamed to share his past.
No,
you know, because he wants to help people and he wants to inspire people. And that moment after winning his fight, he shared his experience. You know, living around New York, and you know. I think from what I can recall, he mentioned, hey, I used to like do drugs around this area, and look, you know, and then it's like looking at him, you know, in that moment, you know, from talking about his past and then seeing what he has achieved. It's amazing. And I'm glad that he is using his platform to inspire people.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the fact that, you know, he does help people, like he said on our podcast, and he says that, you know, he is able to reach people and help people, and that they've reached back to him to say that he's helped. Here's the thing. Even if they don't reach out to him, they're seeing him as a possibility, right? Like, I saw some posts online following his win where people were like, this is what happens when you reach your full potential. This is why you don't stop trying in life, and blah, blah, blah. The guy said on our podcast, he died twice, addicted to heroin, in jail, facing 25 to life. Like, this dude had a crazy life, and now you look at him and where he is, and you're just like, amazing, incredible, and such an inspiration. So I'm so happy for the dude, man. I won money on him also, so that's nice.
Great.
Yeah, of course. I will. Hey, you know, Matt Padilla, who you met?
Oh, Matt,
right?
Yes.
Peso. We always chat online about doing the Fight Insight parlay. So anytime there's more than one Fight Insight guest, we bet on all of them. And I'm telling you, Rain, it comes in a lot. Like, I've won way more money than lost betting just on my guests. So it was great because this one I bet on Lupe Godinez and Jared Gordon, and it was a
And
nice
she won
parlay.
too.
It was a nice, some good money, baby. So, next week, who do we have on the show? Oh, next week we have Kate Batchick. So she was a former guest of the podcast about maybe a year ago. She's the one that fought on 2 days' notice and just won at Cage Warriors. So she's coming back. She's in England, so we'll talk to her. Because, Rain, she blows my theory out of the water about stop taking short notice fights. Here she is. She takes a fight on 2 days' notice, Rain. Like, how insane is that, right? 2 days' notice you take it. But I don't know. I guess we'll talk to her. But I guess in my head, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just no time to stress. Like, you're just...
True. And it might be a case of kind of like what Willow mentioned earlier. She's always training, and same with Modestas. He mentioned that too. He's like, he's always training anyway. So when there's an opportunity that comes up, even if it's on a short notice, it's like, boom, I'm ready.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. So, I mean, like, good for her. So we'll talk to her next week. And then in 2 weeks, I am okay to announce because we booked it. It's solid. It's good. But this guy is coming on the podcast.
Yes. คุณชาตรีขอมอบมอเตอร์ไซค์แรง350,000 บาท Factory City of Talk has given our translator Frank 350,000 baht. 350,000 baht.
One of the most beautiful moments in MMA history, if not this year for sure. That's Mr. Frank Andrews, the translator for ONE FC. So he'll be coming on the show in 2 weeks, Rain.
I'm excited for us to have him, and I honestly think he's going to have the same reaction when he comes on to Fight Inside podcast.
Yes, I know. Yeah, if he doesn't break down on his hands and knees crying at the joy of being on this podcast, I will be very upset. Rain, I do want to end, like, we're always very positive on this podcast for the most part. Not me, but you're very positive. I did want to show something that I thought was very cool. So like I said, and I think we've talked about, I think Jared Gordon might not have wanted to come on this podcast before because he saw a post of us where we were kind of supporting Bobby Green. Or that's how the post kind of looked a little bit. It was to encourage conversation, but that's when they had that headbutt, and then, Jared it was a no contest, whatever. And Bobby Green is my favorite fighter of all time. Okay. Like, I can't deny it that dude is my favorite, but he came on our podcast, and, that was the greatest moment of my life, except for my wedding. And, so Bobby Green and him had that fight. After the fight, Rain, the next day, Bobby Green posts this on his social media.
Gordon, shout out to your brother. You did your thing. I know you had a terrible last 2 fights and bad luck and blah, 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 but I'm so happy for you, brother. Great win.
That's nice.
What a good guy, right? Bobby Green is such a good guy. But I just thought that was beautiful, that another fighter just takes that moment to shout him out. And Jared Gordon shared that on his Instagram. So he saw it. So he saw it. He would have seen that and appreciated that to repost it as well. So it just shows like what a crazy world this fight world is, that the people are so nice to one another.
No.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, very cool. Very cool. It's just touching. You just think, like, because when I met Bobby and I saw what a nice guy he was, and then I met Jared and you see what a nice guy these guys are. And both those men care a lot about like men's mental health and being a good person, whatever. They have so much of the same story inside of them and like what they try to do for the public. So I just thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice when you see like great sportsmanship, between like athletes like that. Because, kids look up to these people, and, to see that kind of like level of respect, even though they're like killing each other inside a cage,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. And then like, even like our guest today now, it's like Charles Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. He looks 1,000 times different than he acts. You know what I mean? Like, the dude is shredded, ripped. Like he looks like a total badass. His beard is always shaved so cool. His hair is always like so like stylish and whatever. But like he's just such a nice guy. Like I was like, holy cow! Like talking to him here the first time, it's like he's just such a humble guy, so mild and meek. Not meek, but like just a quiet guy. You know, you just never expect it. But yeah. All right. Anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here? Anything that we can look out for from Ringside Rain?
Well, first, good luck to you for FLA. Is it 12? 13? 12.
FLA
okay.
12, baby. Yeah.
Yay! Have fun at your weigh-in show and at FLA 12 as well. For me, I would like to promote Up Next Fighting UNF 14 on December 2nd at Commerce Casino right here in Los Angeles, California. Tickets are still available, so please check out at Up Next Fighting on Instagram or upnextfighting.com. And personally for me, ladies, if you are in the Inland Empire, which is like 40 miles away out of Los Angeles here in Southern California, there is a women's self-defense class that I will be going to this Sunday, November 19th at Advanced Self-Defense Concepts here in Upland, California. And you can find more information at ASD Concepts on Instagram. That's ASD as in dog, Concepts on Instagram. So they have 2 women's self-defense classes. One will be this Sunday, November 19th, and the next one is on December 9th.
That's awesome. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't know about this. If when you post it, make sure you tag me so I can share it.
Yeah, I'm not the one teaching the class, by the way. I am attending the class to learn stuff, to learn how to defend myself. Okay, this is why I'm going to the class. If you learn how to defend yourself, you know, and learn how to protect yourself, you know, go take this class if you are in the IE Inland Empire area.
Is it from all the adoring fans that you need to like know how to push them away, or like what's the...
You know, to me, I feel like I always, you know, work like, you know, around nighttime, and sometimes, you know, to me, I just feel like, you know, not safe where I am. You know, you walk around the parking lot, you'll never know what's going to happen. So, you know, I need to learn how to protect myself.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's why, like, in reality, that's why I love that dude, Commander Dale, right? Because he teaches all the self-defense stuff. And so when Commander Dale, when I would see his stuff online, one of the reasons why he came on our podcast is because I was really supporting him all the time, like in posts and stuff like that. Because people would trash on his stuff, and I'm like, well, what's your other option? Just to die? Like, because he's teaching how to disarm a gun, right? And people are like, that shit doesn't work. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I haven't talked about it with you. But it's like, okay, so do you want people to maybe try how to survive or just get shot in the face? Like, which is, like, what's the other option, stupid? You know what I mean? So yeah, always trying to learn and trying to develop skills. And if not, it's just about like not the confidence, but like hopefully maybe lessen your panic when or something like that. I was watching some self-defense stuff that Dale was teaching on the weekend at a women's seminar as well. And it was like a simple thing, like when someone grabs your wrist, like if someone grabs you, like to control you, and he was showing the way to release it that takes zero strength. It's just based on body mechanics. And he was showing that, no, all you do is you twist your arm this way and the person cannot hold you.
Yeah.
Things like that are so amazing. And that doesn't take a lot of, it doesn't even take a lot of practice per se. You know, I mean, obviously muscle memory is good, but like he was just showing it because, you know, when people get grabbed by the wrist, they try to pull back, but you can't pull back because the person has gripped you. But if you just rotate around the thumb or whatever it was, like go check out Detroit Dust on Instagram and see that clip. But all those kind of things, Rain, is so good to know. So
yeah, because it's not like we, you know, get like a practice on how to defend ourselves every day. You know, it's like you'll never know what you know until you're put in that situation, really. So to me personally, you know, as a woman, I feel like, you know, I need to learn these things, how to protect myself, because you'll just never know. And at least, like you said, you somewhat know how to fight for yourself. You know, you can try to defend yourself any way, shape, or form you can. And yeah, it builds up your confidence, you know, because you learn something from like a self-defense class. So yeah, if you or anyone you know is in the Inland Empire area, I will be taking that class this Sunday, November 19th. If you see me there, say hi to me.
Yeah, and if you want Rain's autograph, go early. Don't do it during the class. You know what I mean? Like, be respectful, right? Get the autograph before or after. You know what I mean? Yeah, right, Rain?
Maybe before the class, so that way I don't know yet how to protect myself. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Guys, that is it for this week's episode. If you're listening on audio, we're going to end it here. But Rain, I will put up a couple of videos up here. Maybe I'll put a Commander Dale one, maybe a Jake Matthews one since he's fighting this weekend as well. Also, I forgot, Rafion Stotts fights. Of course, he fights this weekend. And so does my man Daniel James, who is also good friends with Commander Dale as well. So it's a full Fight in Sight weekend of fights and activities, and so it's gonna be awesome. Again, please do go find me on Fight League Atlantic when I do the weigh-in show. Even if you don't watch it live, go in there later and just leave a nice comment. I would really appreciate that. Rain, as always, it's been a pleasure. We will see Kate Batchick next week. She's the Queen of the South. Speaking of beauty queens, but she's Queen of the South is her nickname. So Rain, have a wonderful weekend or a week and a weekend, and I will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.